introduction, Keith. Holy mackerel. It wasn't all me, by the way. There was a whole team that was involved in that, and a couple of them are here for sure. Old Connor, my partner, he's going to be here for the rest of the day. I have to leave immediately after I present here, but Connor's going to be here to take any questions and handle the desk for the rest of the day. Boulder, we started this May. Like, it was basically D3. We split into. I'll give you a 30-second preview on what we did. D3 was a former company that I was a CEO of. We had two assets. Boulder's asset is the Belly River play. It's a growth co, and Mike's going to talk about granite this afternoon. It's the div co. So I don't want to steal Mike's thunder by any means, but it's a great asset also. Anyways, it's just a location where we are, just to refresh everybody's memory. If you don't know, Boulder's assets are right in the middle of, right beside the Pembina oil field. Pembina is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, light oil pool in Canada. It's a huge oil in place property, and we have 100,000 acres right offsetting it. We control all the infrastructure. We produce, anywhere from 7,000 to 8,000 barrels a day of production in there. Mostly oil. It's about 80% oil, and you can see we're surrounded by some very, very big names. Vermilion's around us, Montara, Whitecap, Peyto, Tourmaline, and Arc. It's become a very consolidated area. So I want to say it's probably one of the last bits and pieces of the play or the area that hasn't been consolidated. And I truly believe it will be in the future. It's just a little early right now in the play. Now, this is really the play broken down. The Belly River package itself is about 300 meters thick. It's got about 10 different layers, 10 different sands within the Belly River package, and they all are oil bearing. I believe we've drilled in eight different sands, Connor, now, and every single one of them have been successful. You see our inventory on the side there. We have over 400 locations identified, and that's not a mathematical thing, a number 4 wells per section. It's actually, we have a top hole location and a bottom hole location. So we've gone to that much extent on mapping this out. So every single location that we have on here has been identified and mapped out. You can see most of the drilling will be in the upper, the C and the D. Those are what I call probably more of a blanket sand, whereas the other sands are more channely, but they're very, very big channels. Resource study, we've done a resource study. Sproul has done a resource study for us. They come up with 1.3 billion barrels of oil in place. The big thing to take away from this resource study is that 65% of that is actually in the discovered column. And the reason why Sproul could give us that big of a number was that we have 1,500 vertical wells drilled in the area. So Sproul has 1,500 logs. It's not, it's not based off a seismic or anything like that. They actually got logs that they can map this play up and go from there. So I truly believe that there is 1.3 billion barrels in place. I think that number is probably going to grow. I believe that we'll get about a 10% recovery out of there just on primary. We are looking at doing a secondary gas flood project in here, and we're just starting to kick that pilot project off now. If that happens, that'll obviously increase our recovery. It'll be much higher in that gas floods, and Mike's the granite story is much about a gas flood recovery. I truly believe we're going to take that much higher than a 10% recovery factor. So there's only been about 25 million barrels produced out of here. So that leaves 75,000 or 75 million barrels left to recover in the area. So there's a ton of upside left in our stock. This is just what we've done since we bought the property. As Keith mentioned, we bought this in March of 2011. This market absolutely hated me for doing this. We were a pure play Bakken player. Our stock went from $4 to $2, $1.80, and then went from $1.80 to $12. So we knew that it was a great asset, and you can see we just grew it from 900 barrels a day to we touched over 8,000 barrels a day, and that was all organic growth. So we had a 700% increase in production all through the drill bit. On the bottom left there, you can see that's just our net backs. Our net backs are, at the peak when oil was $100 a barrel, we were netting back over $60 a barrel. That's in the top tier. We did increase our reserves. We went up 550% in reserves over that period of time also. So the play is it's working out. It's a fantastic play. It's probably I've been in this business since 1982. It's by far the biggest oil pool that I've ever been involved with in my entire life. This is just kind of, the proof of how good this thing is. This is just as a query that we did, since 2012. We went back to 2012, January 1st, 2012, and we looked at how many wells were drilled in the area. Well, there was 1,059 wells drilled in the area, so we drilled 4% of those wells. We put anything over 10,000 barrels of cum production. Everybody comes out with these high IP numbers and high test rates and all this stuff, but this is actual production. So this is where it's really the proof. So that we did 50 wells that have done over 50,000 barrels a day, or 50,000 barrels cum. Sorry, there's been only 210 wells drilled that have done that. We've done it. We only drilled 4% of the wells, but 8% of the wells that we've drilled have been over 50,000, and so on and so forth. You can see we've drilled a third of the wells. Even though we only drilled 4% of the wells, we've drilled a third of the wells that have cummed over 100,000 barrels. That just goes to show you how good this play is. The only other guys, in our area, you got that's Vermilion. That's right beside us. So those guys, that's the best thing that I can do to compare it to is the Vermilion stuff. With our business, we had to relook at ourselves with $100 oil. $100 oil amassed a lot of things. When oil dropped down to $45, we had to rejig how we were drilling these wells. So what we've done is we've dropped our costs from they were $5.2 million a year ago. We've dropped them. We budgeted for 4.5 last year. Now we've got them down to 3.5. I truly believe we're probably going to get that down to $3 million. But this is just what the difference is. If you look at our old budget, we were gonna spend $118 million and only cash flow $96 million. Now that we've dropped the well cost down to $3.5 million. We can only spend $95 million in cash flows. So we're right in this reduced capital long-term plan. This is what we can do. We can drop our debt to cash flow down to 1-to-1 or just over 1-to-1, and we can grow this thing to 9,400 barrels a day. That's at $60 oil. At $50 oil, you don't own us for a $50 oil. Like he says, I don't believe oil's going to stay at $50. I do believe it's going to take off, but people don't own oil companies for $50. You own us for $60 or $70 in oil, and that's where you see we're very, very whippy to the upside with the price of oil. And this next slide, I'll show you. This is a higher growth impact, and on this slide here, you can see where we are. Like, I think we're going to be somewhere in between those two slides. In this one, we can drill 29 wells. We'll outspend cash flow. By about $10 million, but we will grow to 10,000 barrels. And I believe at $60 oil, back in the day when oil was $100 a barrel, acquisitions around us were going for about $115,000 a flowing barrel. I believe that new number is going to be about $80,000 a flowing barrel. That's what the new normal will be. I do believe that. That's why you want to own us, because at $60 oil, we'll be 10,000 barrels a day. At $70 oil will be 12,000 barrels a day. At 12,000 barrels a day times 80,000, even I'm from a farmer from Rosestown, Saskatchewan, so I can even do that math. It's about $1 billion company, and right now we're about a $250 million market cap. I'm not saying that you should own us because we're going to $20 a stock or $16 a share. We trade at $5.50 right now. I'm saying you should own us because I truly believe that we are going to go higher than $5.50 with a $60 price. And that's all I have to say. Thanks very much.